Welcome back to episode number 5, right? I believe so. That
Yeah, 5.
Jesus Christ, baby, you gotta back me up on that. All right, but come on, we have a wonderful guest that are coming by, and I'm super excited whenever we brought it up. And you're the one that had to ask because you're good friends with one of them, and you really like this girl right here.
I mean, she's alright.
She's alright. And the husband, he's alright too. He's alright. But do you want to tell everyone who we have? This is really crazy.
Well, today we have Keith and Liz from L1 Training Automotive, or L1 Automotive Training. I said that backwards.
You
but
done messed it up. But we're going to introduce them to Weirded.
No, you messed it up.
Yeah, I messed it up now. Keith and Liz, please introduce yourself.
Hi, guys. I'm Liz. This is Keith.
I'm Liz. This is Keith.
It is backwards. That's why they're saying it that way.
Not really. It doesn't work like that.
Keith roped me into this industry. It was all his fault. I'll let you explain how you got where you're at right now.
Oh, yeah. So, short intro, I guess, right?
Yeah.
But Keith, I have to bring something up, dude, because we're going to have a lot of questions right here that Linda actually dude, she does her research, and I will bring this up. So Linda, whenever we get these questions going, she goes into the dark web and starts to find some stuff.
Look, I was young and inexperienced, and I needed time.
It's before that. No, she went back to the. No, she literally went all the way back. And when she was researching this, and I was like, when she showed me the paperwork, and she's like, "Look, check this out, Oz," and I was like, "Whoa." And I couldn't believe it. And I was like, I am going to bring this up on this podcast about Keith Perkins right here. So she went all the way back and she found your birth certificate. And yeah, I was like, how'd you find this? And she actually found out that you're not the only one, Keith. We actually found out, and I don't think you know this. You have a twin, Mr. Charles, humble mechanic. Bring him out, Charles. Come here. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Like, OMG.
And that's why we had him before you. But baby.
Okay, now that we got that out of the...
Yeah, now that we got that out of the way.
But since we have you guys on the podcast with us, we want to hear from Keith to tell us a little bit more tell us about what you were doing prior to opening your business.
Or prior to being a mechanic in general, what'd you do beforehand? Tell us, start from the beginning. What were you doing before you started doing automotive, started tinkering with cars and all that good stuff?
Oh, man, yeah. That is a long ways back.
Oh, playing with Legos? What?
I'm a 90s kid. We had Legos and Connects.
Yes. Connects.
Yeah, so I did a lot of different things, but I'm a 4th generation technician. So that I'm aware of, my great grandfather owned a shop, and I'm sure probably back farther than that, there may have been even more. But for sure, it was Morrison Sons Automotive in a town that was Morrison Sons Garage, maybe? I don't remember exactly what they called it. There used to be a sign hanging in my grandfather's garage a long time ago when he worked there. So my great-grandfather owned a shop in a town not too far from us, 45 minutes north. Can't find any information on it. It was just this is way back. So pretty much every generation of my family has been a tech. I remember as a kid helping my dad pull an engine out of a Honda, and he was like, "Son, go to college so you don't have to work on your own car." And I was like, that is a great plan, and here we are. So
you did go to college.
I did go to college. I was no.
So
I was no.
You did. You did all the trade school and all that, right? So did you finish trade school? Were you the lube tech?
I never
was that
went
the
to
route?
automotive trade school at all.
Oh, really?
I'm a complete autodidact for the automotive industry, just short of, I'm completely self-taught for those. I'm trying to expand my vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
So an autodidact is someone that's self-taught. So I did a lot of different things. I went to tech school for internet network security and cybersecurity, and then I also went back and tried to get my bachelor's in criminal justice. because I had a job in law enforcement at the time. And I did both of those career paths. I tried them both, didn't like either of them. I worked in law enforcement for about 3.5-ish years around there. And I worked as an IT person for less than a year. I could not handle that. But all those skill sets I gained from tech school and college, I do use now. And but then, basically all the way through school, all the way through all of my education, everything, I always worked on cars to pay my way through school. And at some point it was like, hey, I make way more money fixing them than I do like learning these other skills that I don't like. I probably should just stick with fixing them. Cars, that is.
Dude,
So
that's crazy.
I went to work in a shop, basically. It wasn't until about 2015 that I became like an actual professional automotive repair technician as a career.
And where were you working at before? Like, so at that point, were you just working for an individual shop? Was it a dealership? What was it?
I never worked in dealership. I went to, I worked at a Meineke for a little while.
That was before 15, though.
Yeah, it was before 2015. I took a stab at it, and I was making more money selling parts than I did. They wanted to pay hourly, and it was like $12 an hour or something. And I was like, I'm already making like $16 an hour being just a parts guy. And also working at prison. I was a parts guy. Finished through the law enforcement academy, which was a very long period of time, actually, in Colorado. And then got a job in a prison, worked in a prison for a little while, still working at a shop that rented out bay space to let individuals use a bay and rent tools and stuff. And then ended up people would come in, tear their car apart, and had no idea how to put it back together. So I'd have to put the car back together after somebody else took it apart. So I was working there part-time, going to school part-time, and well, technically full-time. I was doing full-time school, full-time in a prison that was an hour drive, one direction each way. I was driving 150 plus miles a day for work. And then I was working part-time at this shop because Liz, we just had our first child. And so we decided Liz was going to be a stay-at-home mom, which is a full-time job on its own. So I had to make sure we made enough to financially while she took care of the house and everything else. It was both of us were working full-time, basically. So I did that.
I was babysitting inside.
Yep, babysitting on the side. She was had all kinds of side hustle stuff going on. She was slanging it, I'm telling you.
Thanks. So y'all were meant to be in business from the get-go.
And you know what's crazy, dude, is that I actually was in criminal justice and criminology, and I was 3 classes away from getting my bachelor's degree. And that last semester, I actually quit and went back to automotive school.
That's funny.
Wow.
Dude,
Yeah,
that
I
was
didn't get that far. I got like a year and some change in and was like, I'm out.
No, I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie, I did enjoy the criminology and criminal justice and all that good stuff, but it got to the point where it wasn't my passion, and what I was doing is I was trying to please others. And the way I'm trying to say that is I was doing that because everyone's like, go get your degree, get your bachelor's, do this, do that, get that safe job. And that's what I went for. And at the last semester when I was about to graduate, my brother was just like, yeah, there's something about you don't look happy. And I was just like, it's just not something that I love. And he's like, so why are you doing it? He's like, I have 2 bachelor's degree and I'm still trying to figure out myself. And that's what my brother was saying. He's like, go do what you want to do. Forget about what everyone's saying. Just do you. And that's when I went back to trade school. And I was there from 8 a.m. to 11 o'clock at night. And it got to the point that the janitor had to kick me out. Like, bro, go home. Do you have a family or something? Like, get out of here. And I was just enjoying myself, man. It was so freaking cool, man. But you went from, so you're working there, and tell us a little bit about working for a shop. Making like you said, $12 an hour. Let us know about that.
I took a vacation from selling parts, a literal vacation week, and started at the shop. And I was like, I'm gonna try it out. And then like day 4, I was like, dude, this sucks. You guys don't have any work here. We didn't even talk about how much I was gonna get paid until he's like, well, we'll just see how it goes when you get here. And so I got there and he's like, yeah, we do like $12. And I was like, well, what does Cracky make? We had a guy called himself Cracky. Total net debt. Dude was sawzawing through an exhaust one time on an El Camino and went right into the gas tank. After he got through the exhaust, he was like, "Wow!" I went into the gas tank.
Was that the video that the freaking shop caught on
No,
fire?
there is a video. There was a video of it. It was hilarious. So there's no fire. There was no fire.
Okay.
He went through the gas tank and fuel was running out everywhere. I can't believe it didn't catch fire. But yeah, he called himself Cracky. We all called him Cracky.
Mhm.
And Cracky was making like $14 an hour. And he's like, he's our highest paid tech. And this was for this Korean guy named Chan that owned. Meinekes are like individually franchise owned. That one went out of business like less than a year after I left. So I was there for less than a week and was like, yep, I'm out. And that was my first experience at like a real shop. I had been working on cars. I would take vacations from work all the time to work on project cars. Because I started working on cars as like performance stuff. So I had a bunch of Turbo 300ZXs and I did a lot of tuning on those and built lots of engines. Matter of fact, my first YouTube video, I think, was documentation of an engine build. Been making YouTube videos since like 2009. And if you look back at my really early stuff, I was not a technician. I built engines and worked at a little machine shop thing. And then like all kinds of different weird stuff. I had a bunch of small odds and ends jobs that were all automotive related and actually did most of my time in parts because it was air conditioned. I made good money. I had 401k. I had stock options. Actually, I was a store manager for Advanced Auto Parts for a little while. I made like almost 60K in Oklahoma. That's pretty good. That's actually more than what I pay myself now.
Holy smokes. I just noticed something right now. You're talking about you're working on street cars. You're in Oklahoma. Dude, I remember you now. You're on Street Outlaws.
Yep.
I knew it, dude. I freaking knew it. When I first saw you, I was like, dude, you look like someone. You were on Street Outlaws now. I'm like, oh,
No. But I do know some of those guys. Yeah. Some of those guys are not too far from us. And one of them, Jared, the barefoot kid, he's not too far from me with the green Supra.
Oh, nice, dude.
That car's for sale, by the way.
I've walked in a couple of their shops going down to Oklahoma City since we expanded down there.
Yeah, most of them are actual shop owners that do regular work and then just dramatized for TV.
Oh, yeah, for sure, dude.
Yeah.
I
did everything from building computers and went to tech school. That's how we met. We met when I was going to tech school for internet network security and cybersecurity, and then she was doing laboratory technician stuff.
Yeah,
it's like organic sciences and stuff.
Well, nice, dude.
Like 3 different things, like you do medical, industrial, or environmental. And I was super interested in the medical side of it. But
Nice,
you never know.
nice.
She might go back to school, be a nurse.
There you go. So, how'd you go from? Because if people don't know about you, you have this website. You are a teacher that just doesn't teach at regular high schools or whatever. You're teaching at ASTE. You're teaching at friggin' Apex. You're teaching at SEMA. You're teaching at STX. You're at these big old freaking events. Yeah. And as well, you have your own, I always say this, brick and mortar. You have that. You have your mobile business. You have all this stuff. How'd you go from $12 an hour to this big old empire? Because there's people out there that want to get to that point. What did you do to get to that point?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I hate to take all of it, and I'll let Liz talk more here in a minute. I'm sorry. I normally let her
We have a few questions for her, too.
Good, because I talk a lot. So, but that's part of my job. So anyways, I was working at those shops, and then I finally settled. In about 2015, I decided, like, I'm done with parts. I was getting frustrated in the parts industry. It's kind of a pretty aggressive. They shoot a lot of people up and spit them out. Even today, I mean, those guys are paid like $9, $10 an hour starting now. Still, it's 2024. You can go make $12 an hour at Aldi, right? They're higher than that now.
Oh no,
Best Buy starts at $15 an hour. Yeah, Best Buy starts at $15 an hour. So you still only make $9 or $10 an hour selling parts now at most parts stores. So I was getting fed up with that. I was getting paid well, but it was frustrating, and it was salary. So I would work 70 hours a week. And if I'm going to work 70 hours a week, I might as well get commission off of it. So, anyways, I didn't rage quit, but I did decide, all right, I'm going to go back and be a technician, and this time for real. So I went to a big franchise, Christian Brothers, and I worked for one of their stores for almost 4 years, 3 years, almost 4 years, coming up on 4 years, the one location. Had some issues where I just didn't agree with some of the individual business practices in the one location I was in, particularly over like just some ethical situations. Nothing super crazy bad, but I've always been a pretty ethical person. I spent enough time in law enforcement that I'm stuck in my ways and pretty black and white on a lot of things. So I left that shop, went to another shop, Was there 8 months, got to where they owed me almost 60 hours of flat rate time. And then that was the only job in my entire life. And I've had probably 12 jobs ever. I did a couple small odds and ends, but it was the only place ever in my life I quit without a notice. I came back from a training event, and as a matter of fact, part of my going to work there was them paying for me to go to Vision. And I came back the day, drove back, following day went to work, walked in and quit. Liz was a mile behind me with my trailer and truck to load up all my tools. Hadn't quite decided where I was going yet, but it was one of those situations where that shop even today has rules. It's called the Perkins rule. So if you go to work at that shop, you have to sign stuff saying if they pay for you to go to training, you have to pay them back.
It's a true story.
Yeah, we still get told, at least. I mean, it's been like 8 years since I've worked at that shop or more.
About 7, I think.
7, yeah. And there are rules that are because of me. So I came back and said, here's your car back you loaned me for going to the training event. Thanks for paying for everything. I quit. I'm leaving right now. First job ever. So they owed me a bunch of money, and they were just, I'll get you back next week. I'll get you back next week. You know, they sell it as a diag. I did timing chains on a Land Rover once. I did way more than once, but on this particular instance, I've done a lot of timing chains on Land Rovers. Yeah, this particular vehicle, this one Land Rover, it's like 17 hours to do timing chains on a 5-liter supercharged Land Rover. I've done a bunch of them in my career. I've done a bunch of Euro work at different shops. I always end up being the Euro or timing chain or cylinder head guy for whatever reason. I go to do the job. I get it all done. It leaves. Like 3 weeks later, it comes back with a timing code. One of the tensioners on one bank failed. So we go to tear it back apart. Or I scope it, find cam versus crank, see that one bank's out. Tells, hey, like we have something happen. I'm gonna have to tear it down, find out what it is. He's like, all right, go ahead and do it. You know, obviously it's covered if it's a part or whatever. I'm like, cool. I get it pulled apart. Timing chain tensioner's trash. You can just squeeze it with your fingers, and it's a ratcheting type. And you could just squeeze it easy. It was a dealer part, which looked crazy. So we called Land Rover dealer. He's like, yeah, it happens a lot. They revised them a bunch of times. You'll get a bad one every once in a while still. I tell him like, hey, am I getting paid for this again? He's like, yeah. So I end up getting the whole job all done. And like, he tells me like, I can't pay you for that. They're not reimbursing me anything. So I'll have to just get you back later. And that started just this endless cycle of I'll have to get you back later, redoing stuff for other techs that they misdiagnosed, changing parts. Anyways, rage quit. Went to a different Christian Brothers location and then worked there until November 5th, 2018. I was pulled in the office. That store was doing very, very bad. They didn't have anybody in the front that was good. There was no advisors that were good. And Christian Brothers as a corporation, like they typically seek out franchisees to own stores that have never been in the automotive industry. So they don't have bad habits, right? You get someone in and you teach them the CBA, the Christian Brothers way. And I'm still in great relationship with everyone at corporate. Matter of fact, 3 weeks, I'll be going down to San Antonio to their private event that they hold every year and teach. I go down there and teach their techs and talk about them. I give them my experience. I talk to everyone there. They know, they kind of talk about it. So I go to this other store and we're doing bad. And I tell them like, hey, in 16 weeks, this is how much advance. I was like, hey, in 16 weeks at this rate, if we can't get it to where I can get more than 25 hours, I'm getting 10 more hours than every other tech. It's still flat rate. I'm getting 25 hours a week max. Other techs are getting maybe 15, but I have a ton of tools. And these other techs don't have as many tools. So I'm getting more hours than everyone by 10, but I'm only getting 25. So there's just not enough being sold. I tell them, hey, at 16 weeks of this, I'm going to have to like find another revenue source or I'm out of money and credit cards are racked up. And he's like, okay, we'll figure it out. So for the following 16 weeks, and I worked there a total of almost a year, just over a year.
It was less than a year.
Less than a year, like 8 months. I don't know. I can go back and look, but
yeah, it was less than a year.
Anyways, we get to where that 16 weeks is up, and it's our day of service. We do this free. There's one Saturday a year where all the Christian Brothers stores, they get with local churches, and the churches identify individuals that have a need. Usually it's oil changes. We usually find single mothers or teachers, people that work in a community that need help. We get local parts stores to give us the oil and filters, and then us as technicians volunteer our time and do the work for free. And sometimes we've done fuel pumps, window regulators, all kinds of stuff. If we can get the parts store to donate the parts, then we would do the labor for free for them. And we let local churches decide who's in need. So I told the owner at that time, I was like, hey, I was like, I can't come in. I've been doing night and weekend jobs, other shops. He knew about that. Doing programming and diag for other shops, just here and there to make ends meet. And I was like, hey, I can't. I've got to go out this weekend and Saturday. I got to work and make money. Otherwise, I can't even pay bills. I was like, do you understand? He said, yeah, I understand. It's what I'd been doing. And so rather than do a day of service, I went out and did that. Well, the following Monday was November 5th. He pulled me in the office. He was like, hey, I think we need to go another direction. I'm thinking hourly, right? I'm thinking we'll find a way that keep me. I'm the diag guy, right? Yeah, no, he was like, I think it'd be best if you just locked up your toolbox and found another place to work. And I was like, oh, okay. So that was hard. Hit me really hard. I hadn't been fired really ever. So it was rough. So I had to go out in my truck and call her and tell her, hey, I know the credit cards are racked all the way up and we have no money left and I'm working side jobs, but I just got fired. So it's all going to be okay. And that's literally what I told her. I was like, it's going to be okay. So I said, I'm going to pack up all my, and I mean, like maybe a month prior to this, I had started doing training for CarQuest. So I had to get a business name and insurance. So I happened to get business cards made. And I can go back and look on Vistaprint and find the order, but I bet it was in October of that year. So I had business cards, I had a business name, and I had just gotten insurance because CTI made me get insurance, right? Because we're all contract instructors. And because at this time I'd been making a bunch of YouTube videos, and that spawned me to do that. I had done like some ASE test writing for them, some workshops where I'd done that, or just one workshop at the time. And it was just, you know, all the pieces started. My career on the internet had already been kind of starting to, I'd say, take off. I'm still not, you know, I got like almost 40,000 subscribers now, but nowhere near the Oz Mechanics.
I've been on there for way too long.
Yeah. But at the time I felt like it was taking off. I was starting to get a little bit of views, you know, some recognition, and was doing some training for CarQuest, and ASE was asking me to come to workshops and help write tests and update tests. So I thought it was cool. So anyways, I had that, and I was like, babe, I'm going to pack up all my diag tools. I'm going to call a tow truck and have them come get my toolbox in a day or two. But I'm going to take my diag tools in my Nissan Titan. I'm just going to go to a bunch of shops. And I told her, I made a little bit of a white lie, but I didn't know it was a white lie at the time. I was like, I'm going to go find, first of all, some work, but second of all, a shop to work at. See if I can find a good shop. So I'll pull into each shop and I'll go talk to them. And if they've got any cars that I can diag, I'll tell them I'll diagnose it. If I'm wrong, you don't have to pay me. But if I'm right, that you got to pay me. And that worked out really well. So I just went one shop to the next. And about 3 weeks in, I think Liz realized that I wasn't looking for another shop. And I was subconsciously looking for one. If I had walked into one and it was clean and nice and I got a good atmosphere and people were there, I probably would have entertained it, but I really didn't find anywhere.
Yeah, I will say that, like, the one thing he had wanted to go out, like, there's a lot of people out there that did mobile way before we ever, you know, thought about doing mobile. But that's something that you were interested in doing. And we had talked about, like, I was like, listen, we are paying the light bill with our credit card. How can we start a business if we're paying the light bill with our credit card? Because he wasn't bringing in enough money. I was doing babysitting at the time again. I had my own little side business. Like we were doing everything we could.
Yeah, she was making pillows, t-shirts, hats. She was, you know, cutting vinyl. She was cricketing it up over there and heat pressing stuff and making everything. It
was really like, that was when the craze first started, you know, homemade stuff. But you were doing everything. I mean, minus like him working at, like, I don't know, a gas station overnight. I mean, we were doing everything we could to make ends meet. We had 2 kids and a mortgage and car payments and all these things. And
we had bought a house already, and
so like, because he had been in a career, like a good solid career for years.
When I was at the first Christian Brothers, I made 90+ K a year as a flat rate tech. I mean, I turned some hours. Yeah, I was turning, and that's in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Okay, that's
near Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah, near Tulsa. So it was that is a very good living. That is, I mean, if you're making 50, 60K here, you can afford a house and a car and bills and go out to the movies and buy name brand clothes and stuff. You are nowhere near poverty. It doesn't take much in Tulsa to make it out of poverty. So anyways, that kind of started L1 as a diag company. Well, that was November 5th, 2018 that started. 2019 early, Liz had to help. I was like, I need help. Our youngest daughter started in kindergarten, and Liz had a little bit of free time. So I was like, hey, I really need you to be in a van and learn how to program or something. I need help. So Liz jumped in a van and we took off. And
It
then,
really started with me like just wanting to hang out with you, though.
yeah, it was just riding around the van. And if she was the first employee and we had HR, I would have been fired for sexual harassment day one.
So true.
Day one.
Honestly, she'll be fired.
Yeah, I violate HR rules daily.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she jumped in a van, and then I needed help, and we hired our first employee, Zach 1.
That was
And
in August.
August,
So
yeah.
not even a year later.
Yeah, August 31st, 2019, I bought my first brand new vehicle ever, which was the NV 2500 Biggin. That's what I still call it every once in a while. August 31st, 2019. Yep. I have an eidetic memory. I remember everything always.
Which is good and bad to be married at that.
Great for me, bad for argument.
Hey, so quick question.
Yeah.
You went from, like I'm saying, you did go from making 90,000. Okay, now you went from 12, 13 bucks an hour to 90,000 a year, and then you get fired.
Yep.
How freaked out were you? Because it got to the point that, well, you're like, hey, I'm bringing in 90 grand a year. And I don't know what kind of benefits you have, this and that. And then were you comfortable enough to say, hey, I got this, or were you like pushed into the corner? Because you're a smart individual. You know about programming, you know about diagnosing. You've wrenched before. So what? How did you feel at that moment, telling Liz, hey, we're losing this, and we're about to, to start this new endeavor, and I'm going to try to go from shop to shop. But then you're thinking, you're deep behind your mind, you're like, what's going on? What are we going to do? Were you good with all the stuff that you have? I want to thank one of my sponsors, Top Don. If you want to step up your game in the automotive field, go to Top Don US to check out their tools that they have available. I use the Phoenix Max, one of my favorite tools. And if you want to step up your game, go check out the various amount of tools that they have on there. Go to Top Don US and get yourself a tool.
I made 90 grand at the first CBA. And then when I left there because of ethical reasons, I took a pay cut. And then when I left that place because they wouldn't pay me, I took another pay cut. So I don't know what taxes were that year, but it wasn't great out of that last place I got fired out of. I mean, we were racking up debt like crazy, maxing credit cards out. So I was stressed to the max just being at work, and then losing my job was a lot of stress. But I came from an extremely poor home. I have, and I hope that my parents don't watch this, but both my parents are recovering drug addicts. Like, one of them is currently dealing with it, and the other one in the last 5-8 years has gotten on the better side of recovery. But I haven't talked to one of my parents in a long time, because they're currently dealing with that and currently suffering through that. And it was apparent all the way through my childhood. Like, without getting too far into it, essentially my stepfather, when I was 5 years old, he became my stepfather. He was my parents' drug dealer. And then, so it just didn't get a whole lot better after that.
Oh, wow.
And then some other things that got even way worse. And so they did the best they could to provide for me. I mean, I wasn't, I didn't die. I didn't have anybody in my family die, but we went without utilities and stuff for a little while. And then there was a point in time where they did okay. And it was, I didn't have the best circumstances. I was a smelly kid at school. I grew up in the Indian home. So in Oklahoma, the area we lived in, the house that I lived in and grew up in, was given to us by the Cherokee Nation because we didn't make a lot of money, and my father was Cherokee, and I am, obviously, but they give a lot of things here because it's reservation land. So I grew up in that area. I wasn't treated well by other kids at school. I was the white kid that grew up in the Indian homes. Yeah. It wasn't the greatest thing. So all of that led to, I have never in my life been defeated by going, oh, poor me. Yeah. Things suck. Oh, poor. No, I've 100% have been fully aware my entire life that you are what makes you you. So if you can put your mind to it, you can do it. This is America. This is the greatest country in the world. You can do anything you want if you want to. You just have to work hard.
Mhm.
And that's what everyone's like, oh, well, you were given this. I wasn't given, for lack of a better term, I wasn't given shit. Okay.
Yeah.
I had to work hard for all of it. So I'm not better than I'm not smarter than other people because of this. I worked harder. And that's what I have to constantly, look back at is when it became tough and when it became difficult and I had to make it work. Liz says all the time, she's like, no matter what, you always say, we'll figure it out. And I always figure it out. But it's also, I'll figure it out and I'll work my ass off to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was rough. It was stressful. It was hard. It was not something I was excited about. I sat there in my truck and cried and was like, babe, lost my job. I'm going to make it work, but I don't know what yet. So first thing I did was grab Diag tools, go to the next shop and try to make some cash for the day.
Yeah.
And that just turned from the next day. And that's what, no matter what you're doing, you have to remember just one more day. Always. Just one more day. That's people talk about it with addiction and stuff all the time. And I've never dealt with addiction, but I have lots of friends and family that have. And I can tell you that the answer to fixing it is one more day. So if you can just do one more day of whatever it is, that's how you do it. One foot after the next. If you try to imagine, 5 years in the future of this, you'll fail. Just one more day. One more day.
If you really want to make Keith Perkins like on a tangent, you just say,
I know what she's about to say.
It must be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the where I throat punch you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because it's easy to see, it's easy to see like, oh my gosh, like the grass is greener scenario, like
social media sucks.
Yeah.
All you see is the best part of everyone's life.
That's
Like,
what
oh,
I
I
said
wish I
too.
could blah, 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 blah. It must be nice to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Me and Oz have had that conversation many times.
So
yes.
yeah, it didn't feel good. And so that was, I hope that answered your question.
Liz, this is where we get into your story now. So Keith mentioned that, he started needing some help, somebody to grab a Diag tool and start helping him out. What was your thought process when all this was happening? And I know you've kind of told me the story before where you were just like wanting to go on a ride with your husband and just kind of see what he's doing. So what made you ultimately get into the business yourself?
Well, Keith is, for lack of a better term, I don't know. He like sucks you in. That's why he's such a good teacher, I feel like. He's so animated, he's so excited, he like gets you involved. And so like he made me feel confident, and I
Talk
definitely
with my hands.
Yeah. He really did. He did. He made me feel like, hey, if I can do this, you can do this. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. But yeah, no, I think the big thing was we got to be with each other a lot of the time. You're married, you have kids, like you don't get to spend as much time. It's always about like, let's do this and that, and taking care of our children, and you kind of like just miss just hanging out with your spouse. So that there was a big, plus there. And then
big plus.
I kind of like him. I mean, I picked him out of all the people in the world. And he picked me
Grew up
too.
in Oklahoma. We had 6 choices.
Okay. Not true. But, so I'll say like, as time went on, like I don't know if you've seen the post or if I've shared it enough times where it's come back around that you guys have seen it, but he stopped one day. Like I had maybe been riding around with him for a couple months, and I had this big whiteboard that I had like all my orders on when I was doing my own business and stuff. And he stopped one day, and I just don't understand electricity. I was like, what do you mean?
It's all ground. That's how you ask. You're like, I mean, it's all ground.
What do you mean it's all ground? Because that makes zero sense. Because when I was a kid, my dad would be like trying to fix something with our house. And he's like, oh yeah, this is the grounding rod. And so he keeps saying like, oh, this is the ground, but it's all about the ground. And I'm like, this makes no sense. And so he stopped one day. And it is, if you look at it, no one would understand it. I don't even think he could understand it at this point. But the way he just sat there and just like scribbled all on this whiteboard and was like explaining how like, electrons flow this way and this is how it comes back around and da-da-da-da. And this is how you test for it. Here's your pinpoint testing here. And again, just super animated, super excited, like truly like in his element. And so like kind of like just kept lighting this, like this flame just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And I mean, I don't know that I'll ever be like the wildfire that Keith is, but I'm growing still with him and learning things more and more and finding the things that I like in the industry. You know, the industry isn't just turning wrenches, you know, doing tires. There's a whole story there. And
It's for the next podcast.
Yeah. So, but there's so many things in this industry that you can pick what you want to do in the industry. It's not just, oh, well, you have to be a grease monkey, or, oh, you have to, you know, be a parts changer, or, oh, you have to do whatever. He showed me that there's so many avenues, and like, I started getting the hang of it, and then like, wait, can I like have my own van, you know? So like, we had this little bitty Ford Transit Connect van, and we would both be like stuck in the back of this Transit Connect van. Like I was on like a milk crate, and he was like on a stool, and he was over there like doing things with modules. Like, it was just insane times. And sometimes like I, you know, I think we both think it'd be fun to go back to that time just for a little bit, because there was a lot less responsibility. But
Yeah. Then I got to run payroll.
yeah. But I just know that like with everything, he had my back. That was the other thing, is like, if I messed something up, I could call him and be like, listen, so
What do I tell the guys?
yeah,
What do I tell the guys?
like, you didn't kill anybody, I can fix it.
Yeah.
So,
If
and
you don't kill anybody, I can fix it.
yeah,
You
and
didn't-
he gave me
did
that
you
same
die?
motto too. Was like,
And then I
no matter
always
what
say,
you do.
if you kill somebody, I can fix it, but it's way harder.
FBI might be on this, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, that's really like, as time went on, like, I felt more and more confident. He made me feel like no matter what, he has my back. And, you know, going into shops, you know, when I first started going by myself, that was difficult, because I felt like I do not belong here. There's a lot of situations I still feel like I don't belong.
I don't either.
Everyone says that, but they shouldn't. Like, that's like Oz, like walking into a shop. Like, it's Oz, you know, like there's no way like Oz is in my shop or whatever. They're like, oh, this lady named Liz is in my shop. Like, I don't know what she's doing here. Where's Keith? You know? So I started taking off like different things off of his plate so he could do his job better and faster and more efficiently. And kind of found like my little, I don't know, avenue in the industry, and kind of ran with it.
So Liz, if people don't know, you actually go to different shops, you will program modules. You actually taught an ADOS class.
A couple of them.
And you're kicking butt right now. Like, that is amazing. But you pulled a Keith Perkins too. You didn't go to trade school, right?
I went to a tech school, but not for cars, not for anything automotive related. Not for
We met at the automotive campus and then
We
got on a
actually
different bus and went to a different campus.
Oh wow.
Oh, so okay, that was destiny right there.
Yeah, it's by
Y'all
osmosis.
met.
We picked up the automotive trade school.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Matter of fact, that school's no longer. They've actually like closed down that campus and then moved it to a different campus now.
Okay. I was like, they still have that program.
Yeah, that's not the program. The program is still there. Matter of fact, I got to tour the program. It was really cool. But yeah, I mean, it's just, world is kind of crazy. You know, I remember growing up helping my dad with cars. We didn't have a whole lot of money either. And so we'd be dropping our gas tanks and changing fuel pumps and all the things that we needed to do. And so I kind of like, I was always the tomboy, always wanted to do those things with my dad and everything. And then, you know, different parts of my life, the automotive industry's kind of popped its head up and didn't really ever stay, you know. And then met Keith, and our very first engine we ever rebuilt was a straight six for my mom's Mustang. We did that in our garage, and we were, married a year and a half, maybe.
Yeah, it was the first house.
So yeah. And so like I said, like things like that have popped up in my life, but it's not ever been what I thought I was going to do, to be honest. I always wanted to be a nurse. the desire's still there. But I really enjoy what I do every day. I really enjoy getting to meet the people in this industry, or there's nothing like the people in this industry. Absolutely not. I mean, meeting you guys and all of our other friends that we have, I mean, people are just so welcoming and awesome. And even if you don't know what you're doing, they're there to, if as long as you're willing, they'll teach you. So
I'll just say this: you are kicking butt right now, dude. That's all I want to say. You are kicking butt. Going into these shops and telling them, "Hey, I'm going to program this module, get it running for you," and then going to these events and teaching an ADOS class, dude, is just amazing, dude. You don't know how proud I am.
I am co-teaching with
It doesn't matter. It's you're going up there and you're teaching. That's amazing. Anyone that goes up there, it's an experience, man. If anyone has ever experienced that, it is something else. Going up there and, expressing yourself, telling the people, the way that to do stuff, and you got to be precise. And then sometimes you're like, holy smokes, am I saying the right thing? And I just don't know.
Yeah.
It is. I give you so much props, man. Both of y'all are a rock star team.
Yeah, thank you.
But,
I like I said earlier, I feel like an imposter most of the time. Like
Everyone does.
But I really do enjoy doing this with him and in this industry. It's a blessing for sure.
and we always so we started this podcast as a business duo with couples and all that. Tell us about that, and people that want to get into business but not the ones that want to work with their significant other. Can you tell us the best way to do that, and different ways?
Yeah, so I think that's probably the number one question we get asked is, how do you work with your spouse every day, go home to your spouse, and still enjoy each other's company at the end of the day? How do you not fight about everything? You're with each other basically 24/7, I've heard a lot of horror stories, and a lot of people told us not to do it. It would ruin our relationship. I think, in my opinion, I think it's exactly the opposite. I mean, really, we have a strong relationship. We've always had a good relationship. We met when I was 16, he was 17, and we've been together ever since. But it does. You have to, at the end of the day, understand that this is business time to talk and this is family time to talk. We still catch ourselves. We'll go out to a date night and I'm like, oh, hey, by the way, this and this and this. And like, nope. It's kind of like putting your phone on silent, so you have no distractions, so you can like be with that person. And so I think having those times, like making sure that, that we stay focused on every aspect of our lives together, at that time, it really helps for sure.
Yeah. A big part of it is, like she said, we were really close before. So been together 18 years now together.
18 years, yeah, we've been together 18 years.
Yeah, been together 18 years. And so if you don't want to spend every minute with your partner, like if you're like, oh, I got to go out and hang out with the guys because it's just stressed me out being here. Then it won't work. It just won't work. If you don't want to be with each other all of the time, like I don't want to go do, there's only one other thing I want to do outside of work and home. And so, and I have a shoulder injury, so I can't, but I did find one hobby. But other than that, and even that, I want her to do it with me. I want to be, I either want to be at home. I don't do any other extracurriculars. I go to work with her all day long. And then like I'm home and I want to be with her and my kids all the rest of the day. I don't want to do other things. So because we want to spend so much time together, it works.
Yeah.
I just don't, it won't work for everybody.
No.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
We see it in you guys too. You're the same way.
Yeah.
Wait, we can work together or we can't?
No. The funny thing is that
You can.
Linda is always with me at training events, and I'm pretty sure some people are like, "Oh my god, she's just stalking him," and I'm like, "No, I'm the one who's inviting her."
Yeah, you're the one. You're like, babe, come on, let's go.
Yeah, come to Vision with me, or what? I remember she didn't want to go to Vision for the longest time until she actually. So we got to the
Well,
point-
because it's in Kansas City. There's nothing there.
there's an
an
escape room,
IKEA.
all right, that we got sick. There's an escape room that we all got sick at. But no, I would try to like talk to other techs and tell them, hey, bring your wife, bring them over, let's hang out. And it got to the point where the wives now have their own group, and
Oh, yeah.
Heck yeah, we do.
yeah, they're called the
Yeah,
Muffin Puffins, or
Muffin
they're
Muffins.
Puffin Muffin.
Lord.
Oh
Oh, Lord.
So they have their own group. So when we go to these events, they get to hang out, they chill out, they do their stuff, and I like that, man. It really makes me happy knowing
We
that-
built
Bought us
our
all
own
dinner
little
one
community.
Didn't they?
Was that?
Do what?
Yeah.
Didn't you guys buy us all dinner one time or something?
I don't know.
I don't know. We were eating somewhere, and somebody said, "This is on Poppin' Muffins," and somebody else's card paid for it all.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. It's because I owed Isaac.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So I owed Isaac.
He owed Isaac, and then Isaac was the one that's like, well, let's give it to Christina so she can treat the girls and whatever. And then I think we all went out that day or something like that.
Yeah, I was like, dude, just have some fun, have a good time. And Isaac brought it up. He's like, let the girls have a good time. And I was like, dude, that's an amazing idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, we-
And now we're looking forward to all these training events. Like every single time we're like, oh, dude, STA is going to come up or SEMA is going to come up. And we're just, for me, it's I don't know, it's like a little brotherhood.
It's like a community.
Brotherhood, sisterhood that we have. I remember after COVID, like I literally ran into the freaking, into the hotel. And I just remember seeing everyone, and I just hugged everyone. I was so excited to see everyone. I was like, I miss y'all, dude. I don't know how y'all. I really do miss y'all, man. Like, and that was really fun. It's just it's a growing community, and I really do enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that y'all are a part of it.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I didn't know what to expect, being like the wife, like tagging along. I'm sure Linda can say the same thing. You kind of go and you're like, what do I expect? What do they expect of me?
Yeah.
What do I talk about? Like, I have 2 kids. I can tell you about my kids.
What do I do with my hands?
Yeah. Put your hands down, like what do you do? What do you talk
Yeah.
about? How do I have
Yeah.
a commonality with this person? And I think one of the conversations I started one time with another lady was, so how do you get the oil stains out of your husband's pants? Like just silly break the ice type of thing,
I think one of the first conversations me and you had
gonna
was
bring
about our husband's socks.
Oh, really?
Yes, I was about to bring that up. That's when I was just like, holy smoke.
We were talking about like when we do laundry and pairing the socks, and you're like, oh, what I do is I just buy the same brand, so I never have to worry
Yes.
about finding pairs.
Yes.
I was about to bring that
seriously,
up.
Life hack for everyone, mom, dad, I don't care. Like, always buy the same type of sock. If you want crew socks, then buy all black crew socks that are same brand. Like buy 2 packages, okay? And that each person has their own sock and own color and shape or whatever size. And then when you go to mate socks, all you gotta do is grab 2 of them, put them together. That's it.
Like I know who's these
Life
are.
hacks with Liz.
I mean, it is the best life hack ever. Like, we still do it
Mm-hmm.
to this day.
Liz, I want to thank you for that, because I think that was a turning point for Linda to go to these training events, because like most of the girlfriends that she talks to, they're like, he stinks, or this and that. He's in,
He stinks.
or whatever, automotive people. We're dirty and all that. And then I just remember driving back we were in New York. And that was a fun trip overall.
That was a fun
I'm gonna put a picture of what they drew us. What they drew.
my
They drew me and Linda, and hopefully, and
Yeah.
Keith. Yeah, if Keith could send me a picture of them. And I was expecting that picture, but then they drew this. So, but yeah, it was just a fun trip overall. But I just remember on the ride back, I think me and Keith were like knocked out, and then Linda and Liz were just talking about just being a wife of an automotive person, and it was just like they had this connection. And I just remember opening up my eyes, and I was like,
No. You have it all wrong. We had a common enemy.
yeah. Okay.
Not really, but you get the gist.
Yeah, but it was amazing. I just thought at that point I was just like, holy smokes! Now Linda's locked in. She found her homegirl that she can party with, and she's gonna sing. What's that song in Nashville? When I'm a white,
Oh, redneck
I'm
woman.
I'm a redneck, and then Linda and Liz are just singing along, and I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, yes, this is
Oh,
this is fun right here.
I wish we could redo Nashville like right this minute. That's
I know, that was so much fun.
Dude, that
Slight
was so-
modification.
Yeah, a little bit same modification.
Oh yeah, because y'all left early.
We will not talk about that day, but I was trying to be his guardian angel that day at that moment. It's like go into the restroom, and we're like a freaking like SEAL team right there, guarding the restroom door, and no one can come in. And we're like a freaking Secret Service. We just stood there. No, you can't come in here, man.
Really
Someone
good
special.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a
lot
good
of
time.
really good times.
No, that was fun. But yeah, man, I just want to thank y'all. I really do want to thank y'all for being a part of this. Like, just
Yeah, thanks for having us.
yeah. No, I wish we can go further, even longer. But I know y'all have some stuff to do.
We can always do a part 2.
No, but thank you for your time, man.
Yes, thank you for showing up for us.
No, and for sure, I can't wait to see y'all in about 3 weeks.
The end of this month?
End of this month.
Finally,
I
we always
know.
say we live for spring and fall because that is when we get to see each other and hang out.
Yes.
All the training events is spring and fall. So
Well, the good thing is that Linda's not going to miss too much of SEMA, so she's gonna show up on Monday. So this is gonna be really cool. I'll be there Sunday. I'm gonna be at the casino playing.
You're going to be there Sunday.
oh,
I was like, wait a minute. I was like, wait a
I'll
minute.
be there Monday morning.
I was like, I have to be there Sunday. So
yeah.
Yeah, we
I'll
gotta talk.
also be there Monday though. I'm not gonna leave on Sunday.
Thank you very much for coming by. And like I end off all my videos, if you do like this video, please put a big thumbs up. And don't forget to hit that little notification bell to get all the brand new videos coming out from Oz Mechanics. Y'all take care. Y'all have a nice day. Goodbye.